It's Thursday at 3:14 p.m. Your bank app pings. Low balance alert. Again. You haven't bought coffee in weeks. You meal prep Sunday night. You even transferred $20 to savings on time. But your account is dry, your shoulders are tight, and that familiar whisper returns, "Why can't I get this right?" Here's the truth you've never been told. You're not failing your money system is failing you. It's rigged with invisible friction, manual transfers, hidden fees, reactive decisions that turns discipline into exhaustion. And this broken workflow isn't just draining your account, it's stealing $136,000 from your future and 7 years of freedom you'll never reclaim. This moment, tense, tired, falsely guilty, isn't a personal failure, it's a system failure. Modern personal finance is built on a cruel myth that if you just try harder, track more, or deny yourself longer, you'll win. But behavioral economics proves otherwise. Every time you manually move money, compare subscription plans, or override a recurring charge, you're paying a cognitive tax, burning precious mental bandwidth that could be used for creativity, rest, or joy. The average person spends 9.4 hours a year just managing financial friction, time lost to phone trees, confusing dashboards, and guilt-driven spreadsheets. Worse, these systems are designed to keep you reactive. You're not lazy for giving up, you're human. And your brain is wired to conserve energy, not endlessly negotiate with a hostile money environment. The real tragedy? While you're stuck in this loop, your potential wealth is silently evaporating, not from big mistakes, but from tiny, unnecessary frictions that compound into a lifetime of missed peace. But what if you could flip the script, not by working harder, but by designing a system that works for you? The best financial advice is often not about money, but about reducing friction. I'm Habby, the habit accountant. I don't track your spending. I audit your habits and calculate what they're really costing you.
Meet Lena, 34, dental hygienist, makes $62,000 a year. Solid, stable, nowhere near broke. Every month, she opens her budgeting app, logs every receipt, and transfers whatever's left to savings. Some months it's $15, some months it's $0. She tells herself, "At least I'm trying." Lena isn't reckless. She's not impulsive. She's trapped in a reactive money system, one that demands constant vigilance but delivers no real safety. And every time she fails to save, she internalizes it as weakness, when the real flaw was never hers. But what Lena didn't know, what millions don't know, was hidden in plain sight. Her system wasn't built to succeed, it was built to exhaust her. Lena represents millions of conscientious people who follow the rules yet stay financially stuck. She uses a popular zero-based budgeting app, checks her balance daily, and avoids credit card debt. By all cultural measures, she's responsible. But her system is fundamentally flawed. It's manual, reactive, and decision-heavy. Every dollar must be consciously assigned, a process that requires peak cognitive function, which most people don't have after a 10-hour workday. Research shows that most budgeters abandon their systems within 90 days, not due to laziness, but because the friction outweighs the reward. Lena feels guilty when she skips a log entry, so she either burns out or abandons saving altogether. Meanwhile, her bank silently charges $12 a month for account maintenance, her streaming services auto-renew unused tiers, and her savings account earns almost nothing. None of this is her fault. She's playing a game with invisible rules and rigged mechanics. And the cost isn't just financial, it's emotional. The constant self-monitoring erodes her confidence, making her believe she's the problem. But the truth, her intentions were always good. Her system was the enemy. And once you see that, everything changes.
Let's audit Lena's harmless friction. She spends 18 minutes every Sunday manually categorizing transactions. She logs into 3 apps to check balances. She transfers savings only when she remembers, And she tolerates $14.99 a month in unused services because canceling is a hassle. This isn't laziness, it's systemic leakage, measured in time, energy, and missed compounding. Monthly friction cost, $22.47. Yearly, $269.64. Over 35 years, $9,437 in direct losses, plus $87,210 in lost investment growth. Total lifetime cost, $96,647 and 6.8 years of delayed freedom. But this is only half the cost. The math is uncompromising. Those fees seem trivial until you project them forward. At a conservative 7% annual return, that $22 a month isn't just disappearing. It's failing to become $87,000 by retirement. That's not hypothetical. It's the literal opportunity cost of a poorly designed system. But the deeper loss is behavioral. Because Lena's system requires constant manual input, she only saves when she has surplus mental bandwidth, which is rare, so her savings rate averages 0.8%. Meanwhile, someone with an automated system, same income, same willpower, saves 4.2% effortlessly. The difference isn't discipline, it's architecture. This isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Every minute spent fighting friction is a minute not spent building freedom, and every dollar left idle is a future dollar erased. But as staggering as this number is, it still doesn't capture the true toll, because the hidden costs are psychological, temporal, and existential.
The real damage isn't just in the dollars, it's in what the friction steals from your life. Psychological toll. Lena feels like a failure every time she misses a log entry, reinforcing a broken-with-money identity. Time cost. 18 minutes a week times 52 weeks is 15.6 hours a year, time that could fund a side skill, rest, or family. Opportunity avoidance. When a flexible freelance gig came up, she said no. I can't handle unpredictable income, she told herself. But the truth? Her system couldn't absorb variability. This is the silent tax of a hostile money workflow. It doesn't just drain your account, it shrinks your life. So how do you break free without willpower? Friction doesn't just cost money, it corrodes your self-concept. Over time, it triggers chronic low-grade stress, and stress creates decision fatigue, and decision fatigue creates avoidance. So she starts avoiding her finances altogether, and the cycle deepens. The time cost is equally severe. Over a decade, that's 156 hours, enough to learn a valuable skill, earn a certification, or launch a micro-business. Instead, it's spent maintaining a system that profits from her anxiety. And the worst cost? Rigidity. Lena's system only works with perfect predictability, which real life never provides. So when a higher-paying, flexible opportunity arose, she turned it down, not from lack of ambition, but because her financial infrastructure couldn't handle volatility. Her system didn't expand her options, it narrowed them. But the solution isn't to try harder, it's to design a system so frictionless it runs on its own, freeing your mind for what matters. And that system exists, it just requires 3 simple, automated steps. You don't need more willpower. You need a frictionless system, one that runs without you. Here's a 3-step, under 5-minute fix. Step 1. Audit. Use Rocket Money to auto-scan for unused subscriptions and hidden fees. Step 2. Redirect. Set up an auto-transfer for the recovered amount to a separate high-yield account or brokerage before you see your paycheck. Step 3. Shield. Enable rule-based alerts. Notify me if any new recurring charge exceeds $3. Lena did this in 4 minutes. Result? $22.47 a month redirected with 0 ongoing effort. But the real wealth habit starts even before debt is gone. This works because it flips the script. Instead of reacting to leaks, you preempt them. No phone trees, no guilt. Next, the recovered amount gets auto-sent on payday, before Lena sees her checking balance, so it never feels like a loss. And finally, the shield prevents future leaks. New subscriptions must pass conscious review. That breaks the autopilot trap. The before and after is stark. Before, $0 to $15 saved and over 15 hours a year managing money. After, $22 a month invested and basically no maintenance. This isn't optimization, it's liberation. And once this system runs silently in the background, something profound happens. Lena stops seeing herself as bad with money. She becomes someone who builds quietly. But that identity shift only sticks when you do one radical thing, especially if you're in debt.
The quietly wealthy don't wait to be debt-free to start building. They pay themselves first, even while owing money. Not 20%, not 10%, just 1%. Automated, invisible, non-negotiable. Why? Because wealth isn't built on income, it's built on identity. When Lena started auto-investing $5.17 a month, something shifted. She wasn't just managing damage, she was becoming a builder. And that identity, more than any budget, changed everything. Most advice says get out of debt first, but behaviorally, that backfires, because when you delay saving until you're ready, you reinforce the story, I'm someone who fixes problems, not someone who creates abundance. The quietly wealthy reject that false choice. They understand that tiny, consistent investments rewire self-perception. Mathematically, it seems trivial, but psychologically, it's revolutionary. Every month, Lena gets proof that her future self is being paid, and over time, that identity becomes stronger than her debt. When her car needed repairs, she didn't panic. She had a growing buffer. When a better job opened up, she applied because she knew her system could handle transition. This isn't about the money, it's about proof. Proof that you're capable. Proof that you're forward-moving. Proof that you're not just surviving, but stewarding. And once that identity takes root, your financial life transforms from a battlefield into a workshop. Now, let's see the full transformation.
Your financial life isn't failing because you're inconsistent. It's failing because you're using someone else's defaults. Banks default to minimum payment. Apps default to auto-renew. Budgeting tools default to manual entry. These aren't neutral settings. They're profit engines disguised as convenience. When you don't change defaults, you inherit outcomes you never chose, and most people never change them. Research shows over 90% of people stick with default settings, even when those settings cost them money. Not because they agree with them, but because changing defaults requires attention, and attention is scarce. Minimum payments stretch debt for years. Auto-renewals lock you into services you stopped valuing. Low-interest savings quietly erode your safety net. This isn't carelessness, it's inertia, weaponized. But here's the quiet revolution. You don't need discipline. You need one-time decisions that run forever. Lena changed 3 defaults in one sitting. She set her credit card to auto-pay the full balance, not the minimum. She enabled auto-cancellation for unused trials, and she switched her savings to auto-transfer 1% on payday. That was it. No monthly willpower, no reminders, no guilt. Those 3 changes avoided hundreds in interest, recovered unused fees, and eliminated the need to remember. This is the default revolution. You stop fighting your future self, and you recruit them. Money stops feeling hostile. It starts feeling cooperative. But even with the right defaults, there's one left problem. You still live in the present, and wealth is built by people who learn how to act from the future.
Time travel banking.
You don't need a time machine to change your financial future. You just need to bank like your future self is watching. Most people bank in the present. What can I afford today? What can I get away with right now? The quietly wealthy bank in the future. What will future me thank me for doing today? This isn't imagination, it's behavioral science. Studies show that when people feel connected to their future self, savings rates increase dramatically because the future stops feeling abstract, it becomes personal. Lena didn't change her income, she changed her interface. She renamed her auto invest account. Not brokerage, not Roth IRA. She called it Future Lena, no midnight panic. And something shifted. That $5 transfer stopped feeling like money leaving, it felt like money arriving. She wasn't sacrificing, she was keeping a promise. This is time travel banking. You design your money system so every decision feels like a gift to someone you care about. Your future self stops being a stranger, they become someone you protect. So the question changes, not can I afford this, but will future me regret this? And once you start thinking this way, you stop negotiating with impulse. But even the strongest future self connection isn't enough on its own because you're human. You'll forget. You'll get tired, you'll slip. So the final layer isn't discipline, it's forgiveness.
The forgiving system. Willpower fails because it's brittle. It breaks the moment life gets messy. The quietly wealthy succeed because their systems are forgiving. A forgiving system assumes you'll forget, and it keeps working anyway. If you forget to review subscriptions, they still get canceled. If you overspend 1 month, your auto-invest still runs. If you skip a budget check, your alerts still protect you. This isn't leniency, it's intelligent design. Most financial systems collapse the moment you miss a step. One skipped log entry, one bad week, and suddenly the whole system feels broken. That's why so many people quit. Not because they're irresponsible, but because their systems punish imperfection. A forgiving system does the opposite. It doesn't need consistency, it needs activation. Once it's on, it runs while you're busy, while you're tired, while you're overwhelmed. And because it never shames you, you never abandon it. Over time, something rare forms: financial self-trust. You stop fearing money because you know your system has your back. And when defaults are aligned, when future self-thinking is built in, when forgiveness is automatic, money stops being something you manage. It becomes something that quietly supports your life. Now let's see what happens when all of this shows up in one real person.
You don't just have one income. You have a second, invisible paycheck. It's made of recovered leaks, avoided fees, and reclaimed time. Most people never see it because they never collect it. But the quietly wealthy treat every canceled subscription, every eliminated fee, and every automated redirect as real income. Not extra, not nice to have, as compensation. $22.47 a month isn't just savings, it's $269 a year of silent salary and $96,000 of future freedom. We obsess over raises, side hustles, and overtime, but we ignore the paycheck already hiding in our blind spots. The average person loses over $100 a month to avoidable leaks, unused subscriptions, bank fees, idle cash earning nothing. That's over $1,300 a year. For someone earning $62,000, that's the equivalent of a raise. But because it doesn't arrive labeled as income, it feels optional. The quietly wealthy reframe this. When Lena recovered $22 a month, she didn't call it extra. She treated it like earned compensation, as real as her paycheck. She invested it immediately. No debate, no delay. And that changed her behavior. Leaks stopped feeling like small mistakes. They felt like payroll errors. errors she was obligated to fix. This is mental accounting. How you label money determines how seriously you protect it. When you call it an invisible paycheck, it gains weight, authority, responsibility, and because it's recurring, it compounds. Not because you worked harder, but because you stopped letting money disappear quietly. But there's one problem. Most people believe they need to see their money to control it, and that belief is exactly what keeps them broke.
Lena, then. Bank balance before payday, $83. Subscriptions, 7, and 4 of them unused. Savings rate, 0.8%. Time spent managing money, 15.6 hours a year. Emotional state, I'm trying, but I'm failing. Lena, now. Emergency fund, $6,200. Subscriptions, 3, all used weekly. Savings rate, 5.1%. Time spent managing money, 12 minutes a year. Emotional state, I'm the kind of person who builds quietly. She didn't get a raise. She didn't win the lottery. She just replaced friction with flow. And you can too. Starting this week, open your bank app. Sort transactions by recurring. Cancel one thing you haven't used in 30 days. Comment, I'm auditing my friction. Download the free frictionless finance checklist in the description. Next video, you're not overspending, you're under allocationing. I'm Habby, and I'll see you in the next audit.